2020 Family Feud contestant Timothy Bliefnick was found guilty for 1 count of home invasion and for the first-degree murder of his wife, Rebecca Bliefnick. 3 years before the killing, Timothy appeared on Family Feud, where he made a now-haunting joke about regretting his marriage, telling host Steve Harvey his biggest mistake at his wedding was saying, "I do," to his wife. Who was Rebecca Bliefnick? Rebecca was born in Quincy, Illinois on November 19, 1981, where she attended Payson Elementary School and Quincy Notre Dame High School, where she was named valedictorian. Rebecca earned her bachelor's degree in biological science with a minor in chemistry from Quincy University. She graduated with very high honors from Blessings Remond College of Nursing and Health Sciences. She served greatly at her children's school and the community. At the time of her death, she was employed at Blessings Hospital and worked towards her nursing practitioner certification. Becky Bliefnick was described as a beloved family member, friend, colleague, and caregiver, known for her dedication and faith. In opening statements, the prosecution team states that Tim, who lived just a mile away from Becky's home, turned off his fitness tracker the early morning of February 23rd, left his 3 sons at his home, rode a bike to Rebecca's home, pried open a window with a crowbar, and then shot her 14 times with a gun that was equipped with a homemade silencer, leaving shell casings that later matched shell casings that were found in his basement. Rebecca was found with bullet holes in her hands, her torso, and other places. The motive behind this act is unclear, but what we do know is that Timothy and Rebecca met in high school. They were inseparable and spent all of their time together. After high school, they both went to college and stayed true to each other. Rebecca and Tim were married in 2009. They were successful in their career choices and had 3 sons. However, things began to change and the two began to grow apart. In 2021, they decided to separate while going through a contested divorce and a bitter custody battle for their 3 sons. Becky expressed fear of Tim, describing him as erratic, vengeful, and unpredictable when things didn't go his way. She told friends that she was scared of what Tim might do to her to get custody of their 3 sons. She told many family and friends to look at her husband if anything happened to her. In October 2021, Becky filed an order of protection against Tim. She wrote in her request the need for protection against harassment, physical abuse, and interference with personal liberty. She also asked of the court to prevent Tim from going into the murder home without her permission. In December 2021, Becky also filed a restraining order against Tim's father, Raymond Bliefnick, on behalf of her 3 boys. Ray Bliefnick, a retired sales consultant in Illinois, had purchased a house on the same block as Rebecca. Testimony from friends showed Rebecca worried Tim would turn violent and Ray would take their children away from her. To a co-worker, she wrote that she feared her father-in-law. It has gotten to the point that I hate even going to work for fear. He would secretly take off with the kids and I won't see them for a long time or ever again, she wrote. A month prior to her murder, Rebecca rejected Tim's offer letter to finalize their divorce under the terms that he would get 60% custody of the boys. He would not pay any child support, and his father would have unsupervised visits with the boys, and he would pay a decreased amount in his alimony. She said Tim told her, "You'll be dead before you get any of my money." William Postle, Rebecca's father, received a text from Tim on the afternoon of February 23rd asking him if he could call Becky and ask her to contact him and let him know if he would be picking up the boys from school. He states he had been sending her messages but not getting a reply and was for sure if she was still sick, and if so, he will keep the boys again for the night, and that she needed to contact him and let him know what she needed him to do. Rebecca's father decided to go check on his daughter after he did not get an answer. He testified that when he arrived at her home, he noticed the front door was open and her car was in the garage. After entering the second floor of the home, he found Rebecca lying on the bathroom floor, and when he lifted her arm, rigor mortis had already set in. Now, Tim knew that Becky's father would go check on her if he did not get a response from her on the phone. And at that point, he would find her deceased. He uses the neighbors' phones to call 911 due to he had left his phone at home. Rebecca's mom calls Tim, and he is heard telling Becky's mom that the school had called because Becky didn't pick up the boys from school. The school secretary later testified that she did not call Tim. However, it was Tim that called the school to let them know that he could not contact Rebecca and that he would be picking up the boys instead. Now, some of the evidence in this case was, of course, the online searches. Timothy had made online searches 10 days prior to Rebecca's death related to the crime. Some of the searches were breaking into a home with a crowbar and local police response time, can you wash off gunpowder residue, how to make a homemade pistol silencer, are shotgun rounds traceable, and local lock picking tips, and does Whoop catch up when I'm not wearing it? Now, the Whoop was his wristband. Also, another thing that was used for evidence was the mountain bike that he had purchased on the Facebook marketplace. He created a profile, a fake profile on Facebook under the name of John Smith. Under this account, he purchased a 26-inch Blue Swin mountain bike from the marketplace in October of 22. This bike was later found in his home and is also seen on surveillance camera going to and from Rebecca's home early hours in the morning a couple weeks prior to her murder. The state utilized surveillance footage from the QPS bus barn, a residence on South 20th Street, and Rebecca's next door neighbor. Each of them linked within minutes of each other, including the times Timothy's phone was locked, his Whoop fitness band was disconnected, and his laptop didn't make a search. All that linked together each time. The bike was then abandoned in an alley by the Quincy Public School bus barn, a block from Timothy's home. Now, February 16th through the 20th, Tim is not seen on video. There was no reason to visit Rebecca's home during these days. She was away, staying with a friend due to having surgery. Rebecca returns home on February 25th and messaged him asking if he can keep the kids overnight for the next couple days. For the next couple days, video surveillance shows Tim traveling again early hours in the AM to and from Rebecca's home. His wristband disconnects around 12:40 a.m. each morning and reconnects between 2 and 2:30 a.m. It was also learned during the trial that the Whoop armband would lose connection while the bike is seen on surveillance in early hours in the morning going to and from Rebecca's home. Now, the early morning of February 23rd, Tim locks his phone around 12:30 a.m. and disconnects his armband a few minutes later. Shortly after, he is seen bicycling the route he has been taken to Rebecca's home. Shortly after 1 a.m., Rebecca attempts to call 911. No success, but her phone was later found behind the door in her bedroom. Tim's home was raided on Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023. His laptop was taken in for evidence, and it showed license plate searches for Ted Johnson's car for the morning of February 14 from the hours of 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Now, Ted Johnson had been seeing Rebecca since the summer of 22. There was also evidence on Tim's phone that he searched VIN lookups and specific searches with a plate and then for a 2021 Toyota Tundra owned by Ted Johnson. Could jealousy be the motive? Tim was arrested on March 13, 2023. Now, friends and family gathered at the Illinois church to mourn Rebecca Bliefnick. She was known as the award-winning nurse and mother of three, described as selflessness and passionate. Images showed Timothy was home before the funeral ended that Friday of the service. His family told Fox News Digital that he was actually present during Mass, although he sat separately from the couple's sons, who were with their mother's side of the family. I was present briefly for the visitation on Thursday evening to pay my respects with my sons and then left so as not to be a distraction while the boys remained with the family at the request of her parents, he told Fox News Digital through his attorney. I checked with her parents about attending the funeral service and they said I could. The boys sat with them while I sat with other family members of mine in attendance. Trial began on May 23, 2023, and after several witness testimonies, the jury deliberated for approximately 4 hours before reaching a verdict on June 1st, 2023. Timothy Bliefnick was found guilty. Now, at this moment, he is waiting on the sentence and waiting on to be sentenced, and sentence is scheduled for August the 11th, 2023. All right, guys, that is it for me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.